What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy back with another video, and in today's video I have another team from this infographic by Stadium Gaming, which consists of Lickitung, Metacham, and Deoxys Defense. And kind of like this team just because all three of the Pokemon are very bulky and flexible, so it's a pretty forgiving team to play, and also just very strong. Like obviously Metacham super strong for seasons on end now, and with Noctowl being less prevalent in the meta, hypothetically, the Lickitung has a lot more play. So without further ado, let's get into these matches here. And first match, we have the Lickitung into Metacham. So Lickitung is actually able to win this in the Zero Shields, assuming the Metacham does know the standard moveset of Psychic and Ice Punch. But opponent throwing a Power Up Punch right away, I'm going to throw one Body Slam, and then I'm going to swap into my Metacham. So opponent actually ends up shielding that, and they kind of play this matchup out really weird where they only go straight Power Up Punch, so not even building up to an Ice Punch or a Psychic to threaten a shield here. I'm gonna throw the Ice Punch here, and this is on CMP, but once again it is just another Power Up Punch, so I'm kind of curious as to what the opponent has in the back here and why they're staying in this lead matchup. Double shielding too, while boosting up with Power Up Punch. They're still going to lose this matchup even if I no shield absolutely everything, so I'm just going to be up 2 shields, and yeah, basically in a very solid position here. They do bring in the Lantern, and I'm going to throw a Dynamic Punch here, which is the recommended moveset per that infographic here, and the note says that it's for a better Registeel matchup, which we do end up seeing here. And this should be a pretty solid position for us just because we still do have 2 shields. So shielding up the first Zap Cannon, able to reach the Thunderbolt here. I don't remember if I got the debuff or not, but even if I did, pretty solid position just because we are ahead on shields here. So going to not be able to reach the next Thunderbolt before they throw another Zap Cannon at us. And doesn't look like I got the debuff there either, but should be in a very solid position now. Going to be able to throw a Thunderbolt at this Lantern, and then we just have to reach another Psycho Boost to take them out. So also let's just remember that it is the beginning of the season, so maybe some players aren't as proficient at battling, but honestly at this point in the season already, like I've battled some really high level players. Like I did battle Chillis FM last video, and also just like a lot of former legends. You can tell by their poses and whatnot, so not a lot of scrubs really even this early on in the season, so definitely some sort of like hidden MMR that they kind of match us with. But next match here we have a Victory Bell lead, and this isn't the Shadow Victory Bell, and I kind of make a weird play here and swap into the Metacham, which is very, very unnecessary. Like I'm anticipating they have a Bastiodon in the back, so I'm trying to bring out their next Pokemon with like their non-Bastiodon Pokemon by swapping into the Metacham here, and they end up bringing in a Talonflame, so able to bait this out I guess with the Metacham, and then I should be able to take it out with the Lickitung here with one Body Slam, and I throw on poor timing, but because this is going to KO, that damage is not going to register. And now they bring in the Bastiodon, and then I bring in the Deoxys, and this is still kind of awkward just because their Victory Bell is decently healthy in the back, and if they catch a move then it's pretty much game over, since the Stone Edges and the Smackdowns are doing neutral damage against the Deoxys. It's not actually a fighting type, so it's not going to have any sort of resistance. And we do farm them all the way down, and then we have a Psycho Boost ready to go for the Victory Bell in the back, so we still kind of had a win con due to the way I played it if they did catch a move or something, but we're able to take that match there. So next match we have a Haunter in the lead, so pretty spicy pick, and they do bring in the Noctowl, and Noctowl isn't terribly comfortable for any of the Pokemon on this team really, so gonna shield up the Shadow Ball and go straight for the Thunderbolt. They do reach the Shadow Balls before we reach the Thunderbolts, so we are down a shield here, but since they let this go, we should be in a pretty comfortable position. We can let this next one go as it won't KO, and then we should be able to farm them all the way down and have double Psycho Boosts loaded for the incoming Pokemon. So if they bring in the Haunter, then we should be able to take it out with one or two of these Psycho Boosts if they decide to shield, but they decide to let it go, and then they have a Swampert in the back, so pretty comfortable position for us. We don't even really have to go for the Power Whip, as the counter damage will do a lot, assuming they let the Body Slam go through. So either the opponent really good at counting or just calling a bait there. And then we're gonna go for another Body Slam. This will probably get the shield, but at this point it doesn't really matter because I don't think I'm going to be throwing two moves at the Swampert anyways, or maybe I will. I actually don't know. Could be the case actually, because I do still have a Psycho Boost on the Deoxys here, so what do I know? But even if we didn't throw any moves, we would have been fine here, right? Like we could just counter all the way with the Metacham, but I'm gonna throw the first Psycho Boost here, and then get the next one off to take the match there. So very good game to the opponent, and it looks like I'm getting a little bit of lag here, so bear with me please as I try to adjust something in the back, and hopefully it's better now. So we have a Lantern lead, and Lickitung does pretty good against the Lantern, especially since it does know the Power Whip and it's very bulky. But they're going to bring in a Metacham here. I'm going to throw the first Body Slam to chip up the Metacham here, and I kind of overthink this matchup a little bit since Deoxys has a really good matchup against Metacham, but I bring in my Metacham because I know they have a Noctowl in the back. But pretty silly. I think I should have just brought in my Deoxys anyways and preserved more of my Lickitung here, but that's going to end up making this match pretty difficult for me, as they're going to bring the Lantern back in. I'm going to reach a Dynamic Punch, which will do pretty significant damage to the Lantern, and they're going to get a move off here, and this should take out my Metacham, and then I'm going to bring my Lickitung back in here to soak up the damage from the Lantern, and then hopefully my Deoxys defense can sweep in the back. But that's going to be a tall order because, as I did mention previously, like the matchup isn't that great for Deoxys defense since it does take you a long time to reach the Thunderbolt, and also it ends up not even being the Noctowl anyways, so pretty bad here. And then I end up shielding the Aqua Tail as well, so very rough position. There's really no coming back from this, and just one of those situations where you kind of overcomplicate things when really they should be a little bit more simple than they really are. So I'm gonna lose this match here from a bad team call. So next match here we have the Lickitung into Greedent, and since we have two better answers in a way to the Greedent, I'm going to go ahead and swap in my Metacham, and I'm met by a Cofagrigus, and this is a very hard counter to the Metacham. As you can see, it's not really taking a lot of damage from the Ice Punches and our counters, and they are going to be able to take us out right here. So I'm gonna do a very daring farm down here with the Lickitung, and as you're gonna see here, the Psychics actually do quite a bit of damage, but obviously you know, I kind of want the energy on my Lickitung just so that I can set my Deoxys up for a position where it could possibly sweep depending on what the opponent has in the back. So I'm gonna throw the first Body Slam at the Greedent. Doesn't look like they got a Mud Shot through, so now they're at one Mud Shot if I'm counting correctly. Throw off another one, and it takes 4 of the Mud Shots to get to a Body Slam, so they're one off from a Body Slam. And then I swap in, and they swap out immediately into a Sceptile, which is a pretty spicy pick, and this kind of gives me a win con just because the Sceptile here is pretty squishy, and even though our attack is dropped, our counter damage is still hurting them pretty hard. And then throwing the Thunderbolt just to not debuff my attack, and then now I should try for the back-to-back Psycho Boost, and I'm gonna be shielding up this move here and then getting off one Psycho Boost, and then hopefully the opponent does let this go, but you know, there's no shot of that. And then I swap into the Lickitung here, forcing them to throw their energy, and then going to bring back in the Deoxys and throw the move immediately, just because I don't want them getting to a crunch, and then we should be able to farm them down. So able to come back from a pretty rough lead and save swap there with some good energy management. So overall, like, very flexible and bulky team, and pretty easy to use and like forgiving, unless you mess up pretty bad like I did in that one match by overthinking things a little bit too hard. But yeah, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.